Hi, welcome to ThinkTech. We are raising public awareness on technology, energy, diversity, and globalism. This show is Center Stage. We're coming to you live from Pioneer Plaza in the heart of downtown Honolulu, very near Kumaku'u Theater. I'm Donna Blanchard, your host, the proud managing director of Kumaku'u Theater. Okay, this show is always about artists and the process behind art. I love talking about both the process behind art, but also I am a business person. I like talking about the business behind art, and today is a marriage of my two worlds because we have as our guest today Jay Fidell, the founder, producer, overlord of ThinkTech. We're going to talk about where we are with ThinkTech, where we want to go, and how we're going to get there. And our second guest is Mark Ward, who is an incredible strategist who's going to help break it all down for us and talk about where we want to go, how we're going to get there. So without further ado, let me introduce both of my guests, Jay Fidell and Mark Ward. Hello, boys.
Hi, Donna.
Oh.
Hello from Chicago.
And Mark Ward from Chicago, yeah. We're Skyping Mark Ward from Chicago, and we may be experiencing a little bit of trouble with audio, so please be patient with us. It will all be worth it. So, on my 100th show, I interviewed you, Jay, about the beginnings of ThinkTech, why you're doing this, and how it all started. And my hope and dream is that we continue the conversation today with where do we want to go? Where do we want to go, Jay?
We want to be on everybody's coffee table. We want to be a source of news, comment. We want to inquire into all the corners of our community and deliver that with thoughtful interpretation to everyone in the community.
All right.
It's not ambitious. It's very ambitious.
It's not too ambitious, though. So, and here's why I say this. I have worked with Mark. He's been my personal strategist, and it's really changed my life working with him because I've learned not to set boundaries. You set goal. You figure out what it is that you want and how you're going to get there, and you do that without observing limitations. You don't need to give them that strength in your life, right? So, Mark, if it's okay with you, what I would like to do is turn over the lead of the conversation to you. Where would you like to go with Jay Fidell?
Well, I think the first thing is that ThinkTech, to my understanding, has been around since 2000. Is that correct?
Yes.
Congratulations, because very few people, especially in nonprofits and entrepreneurs, create a success that's that long-lasting. So bravo to you, Jay Fidell, and to all the people that work on ThinkTech. And I think the first question that you want to address before you even address a vision is, what have you done well, and how do you know that you've done it well? So looking back over these 15 years, what would you say that you've done well? How have you been effective, and how do you know it?
Thank you for that. That's not an easy question, you know.
I know.
Well, I would say, the normal process of, the ebb and flow of success and failure does sort of put you in a direction of repeating the things you did well at. I absolutely agree. And so what we do today is a result of that process. So I would answer the question by saying, well, I think we do video pretty well. Audio, I'm not so sure, but video, I do video pretty well. And we have been able to reach out in the community and find people like Donna, and for that matter, you, Mark, who can do that interpretation thing I mentioned. I was just editing a piece that she did last weekend about the incident on the French train. And I said to myself, as I usually say to myself when I'm editing Donna's pieces, that was great, Donna. That was world class. And so when we hit world class, that's something we want to repeat.
Oh, thanks. I like how he threw a little compliment in there for me while answering that question. So So it's very subjective. You feel that it is world-class. That's how you know that you've done a good job. You've brought in something that you feel very proud of.
Well, I would like it to compete with all the best media that I can think of and actually be better. I mean, it's not that hard to be better sometimes with some of the media that we get, in this country and around the world. So you judge it by your own reaction to other media, and you say, oh, that's better. This is better what I'm finding elsewhere. So, that's, at least it's subjective, of course, but I think that's my metric. If I find it's better, it's something I want to do. And so I want to do what, your interpretation of the thing on the French train. And other hosts doing good work here. The remarkable thing is that we have been able to find hosts of that caliber, and that they have been able to find through the community guests of the caliber they find. So, of course, we always want to improve. We want to do better. We want to have the best, bullpen of hosts imaginable, and we want them to be trained and motivated and go out and find the best guests in the community. I think we're a long way down that trail, but I would like, A, to have everyone who has anything to say come on this show. And B, I want the world to know that, and I want them to watch what we do. We're worth watching, but I want to be even more worth watching.
I would add to the things that you do really well. You started off just audio online, and the studio grew and grew, and I used to joke, but it was true. Every week when I came in to do my show, there was something new in the studio. And now the entire studio is new. We've really grown up, and you have an operation, a nonprofit operation here in downtown Honolulu. We're taking up some downtown space that runs every day from noon to 5, and you have a great team of people who come in here and are just serving up the dream the way you see it. We're all following.
The operative word is that it runs. If we spent a lot more money, it would run easier, I think, equipment-wise. But it actually runs, and every day it's here, doing its thing. Yeah. That's not easy. You can't take that for granted. Right. When we start broadcasting, when we're supposed to start broadcasting, we actually start broadcasting. When we're supposed to do a show, we actually somehow do the show. That's the excitement of live, People forget, on television now, not that much is live. A lot of it is movies, good movies and all that, and they know when to start it. But when you're talking live, there's a million things that could happen. And so to be live, that's really a great achievement, I think.
I agree. Okay, Mark?
Well, I would say that just to come back to what I do, my work is all about expansion, because happiness, whether it's individuals or organizations, is directly connected to growth. And people's ability to grow into their vision, whether they are conscious of that vision or not, their blueprint for what they think their life ought to be. So when it comes down to exercising a vision, it's really about deciding whether you are going to advocate for your possibilities or defend your limitations, because most people, particularly if they've been in business for a while and have had to deal with the day-to-day stress of operations, tend to get caught up in what they cannot do. But for purposes of the vision, as Donna referenced earlier, it's really about opening up to the greatest possibility, which is, what is your highest vision for yourself? What is your highest vision for ThinkTech? What is the utopia of your vision? So I'd like to revisit what you expressed at the beginning with that sort of description and ask you, with all boundaries removed, with all limitations removed, with unlimited resources, what is your highest vision for ThinkTech Hawaii?
You thought I would hesitate on that, didn't you? Well, actually, we think the same thoughts, and we have visions also. And I would answer you by saying that we have 4 cameras here, and camera, what is it, 2, has recently been renamed. It's the DI camera, and D stands for David, and I stands for Ige. And so when somebody is here, a guest is here, we ask them, what would you like to say to the governor? Just say it to camera 2, okay?
Okay.
And so, and of course, you know, we don't think there's a high probability that David Ige is watching on camera 2, but we like to think that maybe someday he will. And we want people to come in here and talk to him. We want to be part of the process where the public, you know, learns things, and the public speaks to government, and the people who come into this studio, hosts and guests, actually have an effect on our society. One-on-one, rack and pinion. We want them to be able to speak to the DI camera and the legislative camera. We want people to be listening and take their cues from what happens at this table. Okay, so that goes a little further than I went before, but it actually reflects the thing we are now doing, at least in, you know, in a minimal way, to name our cameras with the names of the people we want to watch.
You want to reach. So someday we could have an Oprah camera?
Sure.
Okay, Mark.
Does that help you?
So the question I would ask you in that regard is, speaking about the effect that you would like to have, how do you measure whether you have actually had that intended effect?
That's a hard question, that one. Well, you know, we have our numbers coming on YouTube, which is probably the most far-reaching of our channels. Here are our channels. We have live stream, which is, you know, that's live streaming. And it may not reach as many people as it will. I mean, this is all posited you on the notion that anyone can broadcast, that anyone can reach the public through the internet. And, you know, even if they're not listening in great numbers today, they will be. It also is focused on the notion that we can give them live, and live will be worth listening to live. But our best channel, so to speak, is YouTube, where we have some 300,000 views every year and something around 20,000 views a month. And if you sort of divide that up, you get about something like 1,000 views per broadcast day. That's not bad. That's on YouTube. And then we go to Olelo, where we have 7 shows right now. I'm hoping to get more, and that means 14 hours of broadcast time on Olelo. I don't know if Olelo is you know, robust in terms of the numbers. We just don't have access to that. And then we have our OC16 show, which plays 7 times a week for half an hour. Right now, I'm making a show about that with Donna's help about the Kiss tribute from last Friday, last weekend at Anna, what is it?
O'Brien's.
Anna O'Brien in Mo'ili. Kiss comes to Mo'ili. But anyway, and that, you know, that probably gets a lot of eyeballs because OC16 is popular, and cable has 200,000 regular, probably more than that, 200 plus regular subscribers. So, you know, those are the metrics as we have them. I suppose if we put in more time and energy trying to figure out exactly who was out there, whether David Ige was really watching, you know, then we'd have a better, you know, sort of a better notion of it. But I would say that the notion of people listening is probably realized, in my view, best by the walk down the street test. You know, when I walk down the street and total strangers say to me, "Hi, Jay," I know why they do that. They do that because they saw me somewhere. I'm sure that happens to you, Donna.
Yeah, my Starbucks coffee guy said, "Oh, I saw you on the news. What's up with that?"
Yeah. And, you know, I mean, it's very hard to put that in, you know, in numerical terms, quantitative terms, but but I think it seems to be increasing. I mean, just a small example of this is the elevator situation. You know, I was doing Hawaii Public Radio for 8 years until 2008. And, you know, I get an elevator now and I'm talking to my friend with my voice. And, you know, it's the strangest thing. People
turn and look at you.
Look at me, and then sometimes they say, I know you. I hear you on Hawaii Public Radio. Well, I've been off Hawaii Public Radio for 7 years, but they have it in their minds.
They still know that voice.
Still, you know, it's a momentum thing. And what you want to do is sort of compress the momentum so it's now. And you want them to, you know, have a sort of a shorter stroke than 7 years on remembering you. But all I'm saying is it's the walk down the street, take a ride in the elevator test that really gives me a kind of feedback feeling about whether we're reaching people, and I think we are.
Okay. We need to take a break, Mark and Jay.
All right.
We're going to take a quick break. We're only going to take one break during this show, so we're going to make this one quick, and then we're going to come back, and I'd really like to get your feedback, Mark, on what Jay just said.
Aloha, my name is PJ.
Okay? So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Ethan Allen. I host Likeable Science on ThinkTech Hawaii, and I do this because I care about science literacy in Hawaii. I want to spread the understanding that science is a vital and interesting part of everyone's life. I want to make sure the broadest possible spectrum of people understand the beauty and the value of science and realize that science plays out each and every day of their lives. I want you to understand that science is fun. So we bring on to this show each week guests who are scientists, from astronomers to zoologists, and we talk about what they do and how they do it. But most importantly, we talk about why you should care about their work, why you should see that their work has value and impact on your life. So I hope you'll join us Fridays, 1 p.m. here on ThinkTech Hawaii. You can watch us via live stream. You can watch us recorded on Olelo, and you can see us each week. We hope you'll join us.
Hi, we're back. This show is Center Stage. I am your host, Donna Blanchard, proud managing director of Kumukuhui Theater. I am talking with Jay Fidell, who is the man behind all that is ThinkTech, and strategist Mark Ward, who is Skyping in with us from Chicago. And right before we went to the break, Mark asked Jay what we know that we do well, how do we know that we are succeeding, what do we want, how do we know that we're succeeding? So now, Mark, we're going to go back to you. I'd like to get your feedback on Jay's response.
Well, one of the things that I would suggest that you consider is that my highest possible vision, or am I perhaps thinking too small? And that is not to minimize, by any way, shape, or form, the success that you've already achieved. It is, however, a way to consider the possibilities. Whatever speaks to you, and by virtue of ways that you can understand that awareness that you were speaking of. And let me give you an observation that I have made in watching hours and hours of your programming, because I've seen quite a bit of it. And I would venture to say, Jay, if I was going to make a guess, that there's a bit of an activist in you. And sometimes I get the impression that you are a couple steps short of inviting the public to take some specific steps of action. And I would say probably in the areas of clean energy and sustainability, which is a large cornerstone of a lot of your programming. So I'm wondering if you have ever considered moving from awareness to action in a way where you could actually measure the impact of your messages by inviting people to take specific steps that could actually be measured. Just a thought to ponder. It's just something that has interested me in watching what you do here.
And what would that look like? Can you give us an example of what that would look like, Mark?
Well, I think in terms of, I don't have a specific example, but in terms of clean energy, there's megawatt moments, for example, in the Energy Wednesday shows. And those usually could easily have direct links to people taking specific actions in ways that could be measured by Hawaiian Electric or even by people just giving feedback in response to what they've done. Let us know. Here's what we're inviting you to do. Tweet us. Respond on Facebook. Let us know what you've done, how that's worked out for you. How have you saved money? Those kinds of things. Let me tell you one of the measurements that I use to determine whether someone's vision for their organization has a strong foundation. And that is, if I was to ask each member of your team, all of the hosts of your show, all of the people that work in the control room, what is the vision for ThinkTech Hawaii? If the answer is not the same and succinct by all of the people, then I would suggest not that you're ineffective, but that you can be even more effective by inviting people to align themselves with a clear vision, and invite the host to invite the audience to participate in the intention of each of those shows and how it relates to the larger vision of tech. So here's the questions that I ask when I'm in an organization, and that is this. And this would be for each member of the ThinkTech team, okay? Who does ThinkTech Hawaii want or need you to be in order to be successful? Who do your colleagues, your coworkers, the other hosts, the people in the control room want or need you to be so that they can be successful in what they do there? And here's the one that most organizations miss. And that is, what do you, for instance, you, Donna Blanchard, want or need in order to be successful there at ThinkTech Hawaii? And how do all of the definitions of success for each of those three entities align? Because success is based on a reciprocity. It's relationship of one person to the other to an intended end. And if you get everyone on the same page, the result can be actually much more powerful than many people would think.
Yeah.
Amen. Okay, so thank you, Mark. As you're going through your questions, I'm thinking about them in terms of my show, which at the top of every show I say, we're ThinkTech, we're raising public awareness about technology, energy, globalism, and diversity. And I think, no, I'm not. I'm not. My show is kind of out of those bounds. I joke, say that I'm part of the diversity cog in that wheel, but my personal goal for the show is to enlighten everyone else to the artist that is within themselves, and thereby understand the importance, the vital nature of art in our lives. And that inspires me. That's the message that I want to give everyone. That's the awareness that I want to raise, because I think that makes us all better people, and it helps us all to communicate better and recognize our shared humanity. And it will solve world peace if we could all get we would have world peace if we could all get on that page. So that's my not very small goal. But I feel that I fit into ThinkTech because you give me an hour of your studio every week, and I really appreciate it.
Well, I mean, this goes to a sort of an age-old problem. There was a time when we considered calling ourselves Think Tank Hawaii, just to be thinking. Forget about exactly what the disciplines, were limited to, just to be thinking. But at the time, the manager of Hawaii Public Radio, he constrained us not to do that. And he felt, and this may still be the case, and it probably is the case, is that the brand is Think Tech. Okay, so let me take you down the track of tech,
okay.
How it got started, and Mark can comment about how this fits in the universe that we're describing. It started with tech, and it's still a lot about tech. it's not necessarily about one entrepreneurial activity, one startup. It's about tech in our lives. It's about the tech we use in energy, the tech we use to produce these programs, the tech we use to reach outside of our little production world. And it's about what tech does for our community. Economically, more tech in the community, it's going to be a more efficient economy. And if we have tech, that's something that the millennials can use for careers. It's something that will build the state. So tech is really important. And when we started this operation in 2000, tech wasn't that important, actually. There were people who had spoken in favor of it. Hey, George Ariyoshi talked about it in the 80s. John Burns talked about it in the 60s. But it wasn't, top of the list priority for a lot of people. And we wanted to put it up there. But as time went by, tech took on a greater meaning. And I got really facile at being able to connect tech with everything, because that's the world, that's the 21st century, right? We began, in the year 2000, right? The 21st century is about tech. And we have to embrace that. We have to use that. We have to advocate for that. We have to, get ahead of the game through tech. So that's my first answer. And I guess that's the answer that I always adhere to. Tech is involved in energy. It's involved in diversification, and it's involved in globalism. You can talk about French trains because we now live in a global world. Thomas Friedman, is almost old hat already with the flat world. This is a dynamic global village, all of us, including Hawaii. And what it comes down to, and I'll stop after I say this, what it comes down to is it doesn't mean tech, energy, diversification, and globalism, and adding those, connected pieces of sustainability and environment and all that. It means being progressive. It means not getting stuck. That's what ThinkTech is about. It means looking forward, and every day better is our loose, informal statement around here. We want Hawaii to be every day better, and we believe that through these things that we do, hopefully it will catch on, and people will see that you've got to move, you've got to have aspirations and visions, and you got to realize them, and you can't be stuck. That's the end of my statement.
I think.
Can I just
Yes.
say that making Hawaii every day better is a very powerful statement. Making Hawaii, or perhaps the world, every day better, and it's one that I would consider using in some capacity, Jay Fidell, because I think it's very powerful. One of the things that I would consider in solidifying your vision is in those areas that you categorize part of ThinkTech, that every host knows what category their show fits into, and that it's actually categorized as such to also help the viewers understand what area of ThinkTech it falls into, so that you're actually educating the audience in regards to the connection. Just a suggestion. And I would like to speak to something, Donna, since our time is relatively short, that I know often faces a lot of nonprofits that I work with. And one of them is nonprofits are so dependent upon the generosity of their sponsors, right? Those who give of their good corporate money or foundation money or individual donors in order to sustain the business. When you have to depend on that for a certain period of time, it's very easy to develop a lack mentality, which means that start to diminish your vision a bit because you're so used to having to ask people for things that you start operating out of a sense of need. Which means that when you have people working for you that perhaps are doing it out of the kindness of their heart, they're bringing their expertise or something, that you start becoming more apologetic and hesitant to invite people to rise up to the highest standard of your vision, instead of infusing them with the gift that this opportunity is for them to contribute to this particular vision. So sometimes that's very tricky with nonprofits because people feel very hesitant to sort of draw the line in terms of this is the standard, this is the line that you must meet in order to reach our vision. So one of the things I always try to encourage my clients to do is, there's always that voice that says no. No, I can't do that. No, we can't do that. No, that's not realistic. The first way to approach that is to look at, are there exceptions to the rule? Anywhere on the planet, are there people who are doing that which you say that you cannot do? If there is, then you are just investing in fear and an assumption, the ego, the voice that says no, instead of that place that says yes. And so what I always invite clients to do is take that highest possible vision and look for the ways that you can say yes. Find the people on your team that will brainstorm with you. Whoever you can get that will find ways to make things happen rather than saying it can't be done. Find a way to do it because it's what you deserve. You owe that kind of honor to your gift, which is your vision. ThinkTech Hawaii is a gift.
I agree.
Whoa.
I agree, absolutely. I was just telling Will, my beloved office manager, that I feel really, really grateful for this opportunity. It does amazing thing. Having this platform is not only fulfilling for me as an individual, but it does a lot for my theater. It does a lot for, my business. It does a lot in my life, and I think it does a lot for the guests that I have, and we get to have these in-depth conversations, and they walk away feeling inspired and, to rise up to their greatest good. I'm really, really grateful to be here. And if you say anything you say, Jay Fidell, I never say no to you. If you say you need to do it like this and read this script, this is a part of it now you got to do that, except the stool. I won't move to the stool, but that's the only thing I ever said
We'll
no
be
to you
working
about.
on you about that.
So we're going to go a little bit over. If you want to let the Lolos know, we're going to go a little bit over because we got started late. So we're going to take another 5 minutes on this. I think it's perfectly. I think that it's almost your kuleana. It is your kuleana to have these standards by which we live and to expect that. To run with the assumptive approach that everyone who is on the team is going to fall in step.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a team.
Yeah.
And everybody participates. I mean, when I was a kid, everybody played. Nobody on the bench, everybody plays.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you were here, you had to be part of it. And I think we've achieved that to some degree. I think, but Mark points out a very important issue and problem. I remember we had a gathering back when it was when we opened this studio here in the Pioneer Building, and one of our underwriters, it's not sponsor, it's underwriter, was Hawaiian Electric Company. And Robbie Ahm at the time I think he was executive vice president, and he said, he made remarks at our opening, and he said, I don't necessarily agree with what Fidell and these guys are saying on the air, but I support the opportunity for them to say those things. I support what, the vision that they express. And that's really what we have to, keep on doing with our underwriters. They may not agree with what we say, but they agree with the basic mission that we say something about these issues, that we have a thought process going on, that we are a platform for civic engagement. That's really what we want our underwriters to believe in, not in any specific position. And you're right, it's a delicate issue for underwriters, especially in a small town. Suppose they don't agree with what we say. Suppose we are worried that they won't agree with what we say. We have to come to terms with that.
Absolutely.
I would like on to something that you said, because I think it's an important distinction. You mentioned how in your team analogy, everybody plays. The important distinction, however, in my view, is everyone plays, but everyone is not the quarterback. Which means that you honor your vision at a level where you only allow the best and brightest to carry that vision forward. That, yes, everyone can participate, but not everyone, by virtue of talent, skills, or gift, can participate at the same level. That's a consideration. Because what it comes down to for you and for everybody out there, whether it's an individual or organization, in my opinion, is who do you want to be? That's what's on my business card, is who do you want to be? Because you are either living by intention to some intended vision, blueprint for your life, some result, or you are living by default. And from my perspective, at my continuing advanced age, life is too short to just be living by default. So let's create something conscious, something that we want. Why not?
Well, it comes down to sustainability, Mark. And you watch our stuff, which I really appreciate you watching our stuff and commenting on it and being thoughtful about it and sending your tweets about it. There is a rumor that you have stock in Twitter, by the way. But to me, it's the important thing is that it lives after us, that it has an institutional element, that it is sustainable in the true sense of the word, not the abused sense of the word. That what we can do here is create a phenomenon that will carry on in its special way with a special vision. And, I appreciate your thoughts and your help because I think that's what it's all about, to realize a vision that is larger than ourselves, to realize a vision that has a place in our community that can actually help us move ahead and be, an element of progress and be, progressive every day better for everyone in the community. If we can achieve that, even in a small way, if we can make these cameras people, and have people watching and learning from what our guests have to say, that would be great satisfaction for all of us here on the team.
And I don't think
And
it's too
here's
high. I don't think it's,
if.
Go ahead, what? Say that again?
I would say to you, why is it if?
Yeah, why not? It's not too high a goal.
We can and we will. And here's how.
It's not too much to expect a response from David Ige. Matt Drudge, look at, he's out, saying something people are listening to and he's getting feedback. Okay, we got to wrap up. We're running late and we got other people, another show about to move in here. So I'm going to wrap up. Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much for talking with us. Thank you, Jay Fidell, for everything.
Thank you, Donna.
I love you, Jay Fidell.
Ooh, in public. And
I love you, Donna. Too.
I like Mark a lot.
Okay, and thank you also to Zuri Bender, who's back from vacation. She's our studio overlord once again, and she is in my ear. Thank you very much to Sachi Slomov, who is our floor manager and sprite in the studio. Come back next week. I'm going to be talking to Rachel Funkeller about her book, The Artist's Coloring Book. That's going to be a lot of fun. And please do stick around to watch the Lolo Brothers because they're going to blow your mind. We'll see you next week. Bye.